Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Bill Jennings. I'm a broker owner, a real estate instructor. I've been in the business 25 years, and the goal here is a win-win. We want to talk about enjoying life, having fun, and making money. Hey, thanks for watching. I want to talk about commissions. There are a lot of you get objections to commission, objections to price. And I came up with something years ago. And this is the one thing I did not learn from anybody else. I just thought about it one day and I said, said to myself, or asked the question, what is it they are paying for? Because when I first got into this business, I'll never forget, my first couple deals, my first couple sales were buyers. And admittingly, I showed them a few properties. I got paid 3% of, at the time, 100 and something thousand. I thought, oh my gosh, wow, I'm gonna get a check for $2,500 or I'm gonna get a check for $3,000. And you know what? I almost felt guilty. I really did at first. And until I had the buyer that, I showed 651 properties to, and then they bought it for sale by owner. All right, I digress. Anyway, but at first again, I thought, wow, this is great. And then, you start to average it out on the buying side. But back to the selling side, or the listing side, excuse me. And I got asked this question a lot. Hey, what are we paying for? Indirectly, I was asked that question. And I thought about it one day and I said, you know what you're paying for? I thought, you're paying for consumer confidence. That's it. Yes, consumer confidence. That's what we're paying for. All right, very good. In other words, what do I mean? Bill, what do you mean? Okay, if you go look right now, wherever you're at, wherever you're watching this, if you're watching it or listening to this, if you're watching it in your house, your laptop, your phone, whatever, look around, look at what you're wearing, look at your clothes, look at your food, look at your going to your kitchen. Look at everything you have. A lot of times you buy things due to the name brand, correct? You pull into a new town, you're driving down the interstate, you're hungry. You pull off the road. The best restaurant in a 150-mile radius is over here is the Greasy Spoon, okay? And yeah, we'll say that's what it's called. We'll say it's the Greasy Spoon, all right? It is the best food you're going to find in a long time, all day and all week, but you don't know anything about it. So what do? Oh, there's McDonald's. So you pull into McDonald's, you pay the same amount of money for something that you probably would have gotten a lot more food, maybe tasted better, maybe not. You get the point. We pay for name brands when it comes to clothing, to food, to cars, to jewelry. Branding, for instance, you say, hey, you want a facial tissue, and it's a Hy-Vee facial tissue. It's a Puffs facial tissue. He goes, hey, could you hand me a Kleenex, please? That's branding. That's a great job of branding, by the way. Or you have a Morton building. Someone says a Morton building. Hey, it could be a Lester. It could be a Newmark building. Could be one of a number of other pole barns, but we might call it a Morton building. Great job of branding again. A lot of times we'll say, hey, that's the Cadillac of, right? So I think we see the power of branding. It works the same way here. With real estate, when you put that sign in the yard, what you're really doing is you are establishing that this is a name brand that is now branded, and with that brand should come some confidence. Now, all politics is local, and that is correct grammar, by the way. I always say that. You'd think it'd be all politics are local, but it's technically supposed to be said all politics is local. I just have to quantify that or verify that. But because of that sign is going to give you some consumer confidence. And ultimately, that's what the seller who's paying the commission is paying for. That's also what really the buyer is paying for. So whether it be 6% or 7% or whatever it is, that is deemed reasonable because of the fact that on average, houses that are listed will bring significantly more, and I've heard a lot of different numbers, and I'll say I've heard anything from 13% to 10%, even higher than 13%, on average, than for sale by owners. And you say, how could that be? How could that possibly be? Name brand, branding, period. Consumer confidence. They have confidence in the brand. Because your sign is in the yard, they're going to pay for it. So when we go to these sellers and they ask us what it is we're paying for, what they are paying for, why should they give me 6% commission or whatever it may be? That's why. Because we've developed a brand, we've developed a reputation. That goes with the company, that also goes with the individual. Which means what? Your job, your goal should be in this real estate business, or if you're in the insurance business or any business that's like this, investment advising, your goal should be to develop a brand and develop a reputable brand, a brand that also exudes confidence and that screams and says success. That's a big part of it. I remember when I'm in every class that I'm teaching listing practices, we're talking about marketing. I say, hey, everybody, I said, all right, I want you to, what do you want people to think of you? What do you want people to think of you? And I always get integrity and trust, and those are great things. Those are very good. But I always get integrity, trust, reliable, hardworking, dependent. I get all these other, and usually, and very rarely does someone say success. But success is so important to a brand, especially when it is the largest asset most people will ever buy or sell. So success, I mean, this is a big deal to people. That's a big deal. And because of that, you want to be seen as successful. And as I've said before, there are two different animals in the real estate business. There are buyers and there are sellers. And buyers are different than sellers. And so these sellers, they want to know, are you good enough? Are you good enough? Good enough, good enough, good enough? Are you sure? That's what they want to know. Are you good enough? And if you come in with a reputation preceding itself, that's half the battle. They called you probably because of your reputation, because of the dollar spent advertising, because of the brand that you've developed. And so how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you get a brand that's successful? Is it just sold signs, or is there more to it? I think there's a lot more to it than sold signs. There's word of mouth. It's how you treat the customer, your level of class, the level of professionalism that's involved. And there again, that's why I teach developing professionalism ethics. And every time I say I teach it, doesn't mean that I'm the best at it. Do as I say, not as I do, maybe. But at least we talk about it. We talk about it a lot. Get you thinking. You can decide. You can decide what you want to be. You can decide what level of class in the spectrum of quote unquote class, in the spectrum of professionalism. You can decide where you want to be. But I will tell you that the more professional you're seen, or that you're seen as, the greater level of class that is attributed to you, the better, along with success. So when you think about your brand, when you think about your marketing, you need to be thinking about this at all times. You need to constantly be thinking, does the company say this? Does the team say it? Does the individual say it? Everything counts. You've got to come across in a very competitive market. You've got to come across with something that's going to exude confidence, that's going to say, hey, I'm the right person for the job. As should be one of the goals, and one of the first and foremost goals of your branding is to say you want people to think of you as a successful, professional real estate agent. Thanks for watching.